is going on, everybody? It's Hector Martinez once again for Urban Kung Fu. And today we're going to focus on just what may be our very first Bruce Lee collectible. And those are the early 1970s movie adverts or movie advertisements that were featured on the back of our local newspaper that were promoting the films that were screening or were about to screen at our local movie theater. And the ones that I used to collect that I really enjoyed were the Kung Fu and Blaxploitation advertisements, because those were my favorite films back in the 70s. You always saw one Kung Fu film, and the second feature was a black exploitation film. As you can see, this one here is for Fists of Fury, also known as The Big Boss, but I love it and know it best as Fists of Fury because that's the way I remember seeing it back in 1973. And again, you can see this one here, Pam Grier in Coffee. Of course, Pam Grier went on to be a star in her own right. She did films like Foxy Brown, Black Mama, White Mama, Jackie Brown, The Twilight People. She was also featured in The Arena and another film called A Scream, Blackula Scream. Pam was she was indeed a sex symbol, a beautiful, beautiful woman, and I enjoyed her films as well. So I enjoyed going to the movie theaters. It was Bruce Lee and the black exploitation films such as The Mac, Superfly, Shaft, Three the Hard Way, One Down, Two to Go, Comeback Charleston Blue, Across 110th Street, JD's Revenge. Those were the films. They were filled with so much entertainment, action, suspense, and thrills. And what best to pair up a Kung Fu film and a black exploitation film. So the reason I say that these were our very first collectibles is because back in the days, I don't recall any magazines as of yet before the Bruce Lee films hit the movie theaters. I didn't see any magazines or any posters. They started appearing later on after Bruce Lee started to become very popular. But these guys here, these clippings, as you can see, I would cut them up and create my own scrapbook, or I would create a collage and paste them on my bedroom wall. So those were our very, very first collectibles. You know, the interesting things about these clippings is that they had headings such as this one: unstoppable, unbelievable, unbeatable. The headings would prepare you, would really get yourself going and all set to be excited, to be entertained, to be thrilled. And they were almost just as exciting as a trailer. And I remember every week when the newspaper would come out, my father would buy the newspaper. And I didn't care anything about the news. I was like, 12, 13. And I would just go to the back of the last pages in the newspaper, and I would find these clippings. And was excited to see what was next. And I remember seeing the very first film that I saw back in '73 was actually Five Fingers of Death, which was released through Warner Brothers, but the film was actually produced by the Shaw Brothers in Hong Kong. It was the first Kung Fu film ever released in the United States. Also, I remember another film from the Shaw Brothers released through Warner Brothers was the Sacred Knives of Vengeance. And remember also Duel of the Iron Fist, the Seven Blows of the Dragon, Superman Chu. But also some of my favorite were indeed the Angela Mao films such as The Deadly China Doll, Deep Thrust, Lady Kung Fu, When Taekwondo Strikes. I mean, those were the films that were just. I was enamored with Angela Mao, enamored with Bruce Lee's films. These were the movies that really gave us what I'm going to be honest with you. I was not a fan of the Western films. And although I had respect for the Bond films, the 007 films, I found true joy and excitement in through the kung fu films of the 70s. And a few years ago, I actually went on eBay and I bought several of the. There was a kung fu film fan who put together three scrapbooks filled with these movie adverts. And I remember that one of these scrapbooks was pretty cool because not only did he include the clippings, but he also included a bonus. He included the original ticket stubs of the movie theater that he went to when he saw that particular film. So next to the advertisement was the ticket stub from that film back in the 70s, which I thought was super, super cool. But as you can see here, I really don't like today, I don't like to find just the clippings. What I enjoy doing is I seek out the entire newspaper because you want to read what was going on during the era or the time that these films were being screened. And it tells you if the weather was sunny or it was cloudy or it was cold, it was warm, what was going on during that week. It adds to the nostalgia of that particular film that was playing at the movie theater. So it's been quite a while, like the last few years, when I seek out a particular Bruce Lee movie clipping, I try my best to find the entire paper. Or if I can't find the entire newspaper, I'll search out for the entire sheet, the page. You want to see the other films that were included during that time. And I was very fortunate to find a few of the entire newspapers that would feature these particular titles. As you can see, this one here, Bruce Lee, Return of the Dragon, this one came out back in 1974. And I would say that it's actually the last official Bruce Lee film. Even though Game of Death was released in 1978, I don't consider it to be an official Bruce Lee film because all we got was like maybe 17 minutes of Bruce Lee at the end. So it was more like a tease. I don't consider it to be an official Bruce Lee film. It was more like an exploitation film with some Bruce Lee footage added onto it. So, yes, Return of the Dragon, or the original Hong Kong title, Way of the Dragon, which was released here in New York City back in 1974, is the last original Bruce Lee film. I remember seeing that in a double feature with Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. And it was just fun seeing a fantasy film with a kung fu film. So we got the best of both worlds. And then we had triple features. And then we had a Bruce Lee marathon. I remember back in Times Square, 42nd Street here in New York City, the theaters out there will have like an all-day marathon. You would see Fists of Fury, Chinese Connection, Return of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon. Those are 4 films. And if you were a true kung fu film connoisseur and you really enjoyed them, you were a hardcore fan, you would sit not only through all 4, but then you would sit through another round. So you would watch 8 films in one day. And there's people that actually did that. They would show up at the movie theater early at noon, and come out at almost at midnight. So, but they were fun times. We don't have these type of screenings anymore. Now, back in the days it was special. It was an event when you went to the movie theaters and you saw these Bruce Lee films. So this is my way of paying homage to these movies by saving these newspaper movie adverts or movie advertisements. And I enjoy them. I think they're great. Sometimes I'll sit down, I'll bring down the newspapers and I'll put them on the table and just like page by page and page by page until I get to the movie advertisements. And it's like I'm living in 1973 and I'm getting ready to see what our local movie theater is screening. And it was just so much fun back in the days. The black exploitation films of the 70s, I always said that they went together with kung fu films like peanut butter and jelly. They were perfect, perfect. And then we had Jim Kelly. I mean, who can forget Jim Dragon Kelly? Jim, to me, was like the black Bruce Lee. It was evident that he acted like Bruce Lee, his style, his mannerisms. He was heavily influenced by Bruce Lee. But that's okay. It really didn't matter because Jim was the right guy to do it. He was at the right place and at the right time. So everything he did to me was acceptable. And I enjoyed Jim Kelly. I enjoyed not only Jim, but also Jim Brown, Fred Williamson, Ryan O'Neal from Superfly. But of course, my favorite is indeed Foxy Brown, Coffee, Miss Pam Grier. I've met a couple of the black exploitation stars like Jim Kelly, Fred Williamson, but I've never met Pam Grier. And I'm looking forward to meeting her one day. I'm just hoping that she comes to New York City, maybe to the Urban Action Showcase, which is a yearly show that comes to New York City every November. And they try to bring back a lot of the black exploitation stars from the 70s, and they bring them now. People like Gloria Henry, Fred Williamson was there. Just these people are icons. They're legends, and I'm hoping to meet Pam Grier one day. Finally, I saved the best for last. This one is from The Village Voice from 1972, and this is what they call a pre-death issue. This one features Fist of Fury when it played here in New York City in our Chinatown at the Pagoda Theater. Bruce Lee was already stirring up the crowd in Chinatown.
Do you speak any English?
Oftentimes people come up and say, "Hey Bruce, are you really that good?" If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know I'm lying. I mean, you see, I never believed the word star. That's an illusion, man. I mean, that's something public calls you.